Hi, I'm Dan Danford. We're doing another episode of Money Made Easy for dadsdivorce.com. This week I thought I'd talk for a few minutes helping you understand a little bit what goes on the news. One of the problems that investors face today is just this overabundance of news all the time. So I just wanted to spend a minute or two talking about politics. I know that sounds maybe a little silly for a financial program, but it really has a lot of importance. One of the things that I think is really important to understand about political discussion is that it's always about the future. Okay, so anytime you hear a politician giving a speech or making a talk or doing an interview, what that politician is trying to do is influence what happens in the future. They're trying to gather votes for the future, and they're trying to influence the discussion for the future. Now, why is that important? It's because of their focus on the future. Their vision backwards is often somewhat distorted by what they're talking about. You know, there's an old political line that says everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but they're not entitled to their own facts. And yet, most political discussion presents a somewhat distorted view of the facts. And that's a real important thing to keep in mind. It's not that people are deliberately lying, it's that they're presenting the fact set that supports what they want to do in the future. So, because of this, I'm very reluctant to get too awfully excited about what I hear on the news. In fact, we have kind of a rule around my office, and that's that we don't spend a lot of time talking about what might happen. Instead, we focus on what does happen. Now, what that means is that all the political discussion that talks about a proposed bill or proposed regulations, or this is what somebody's talking about doing, that conversation just dissipates in the air, okay? None of that really matters. What really matters ultimately is the bill that is passed and signed by the president or the governor or whatever legislation you're looking at. So until then, I'm very reluctant to give much credence to anything. Now, how this affects the nightly news is when you listen to the news, when you're listening at night and they're talking in their shrill tones about all the urgency and the emergencies that are going on, listen very carefully. Are they talking about proposals or are they talking about laws? Okay, once something becomes law, then we have to adjust to it. Then we need to pay attention to it. But until it becomes law, its importance is probably very low for most family investors. So I guess that's my bottom line to you is when you watch the news, when you read the newspaper, when you pay attention to the discussions around you, focus especially on things that have already passed and lend a very careful ear to any discussion about things that are proposed. That's it for another episode of Money Made Easy for dadsdivorce.com. I'll see you again next week.